What's up, guys? It is Will here, back again with an Avengers level panel with two people. It's me and Mr. Carlos Viscardo, a place for collecting. And guys, we need to go over something really important today. And this is all credit to Carlos. He came up with this idea. He came up with all the tools, Captain Carlos's cleaning kit. So we're going to talk about everything under the sun that is really going to help you maintain and preserve the integrity of your 1/6 scale figures. Carlos, what are you going to share with us today, bro?
So today I'm going to share with you. It's an extensive kit, I guess, that I've made, and some even random stuff that I've been able to accumulate from what I've listened to people in the past and stuff too. So
I guess you could call it a 1/6 kit.
I guess I guess a 1/6 kit. Yeah,
Hey.
we have some statute things in here too, though. So
Yeah, there you go.
That helps.
Shout out to Kit Shen.
Yeah. Oh,
Anyway, Carlos, go ahead, bro. So dude, that joke was literally set up for me, bro.
Wow, I forgot my brushes. My brushes. I should go get it. But
yeah, grab the brush, bro. I'll talk to the people while you're gone.
Okay. Hold on,
guys. Cleaning and preserving and maintaining the integrity of your figure is so important. And this is not scripted whatsoever. I'm going totally off the cuff here. This is such an important thing to do. I need to do it more. My figures are a tad dusty because I'm waiting on my Modge cases to arrive, and they're in the closet right now, standing up. Carlos, you're back. I was just preaching to the people about the importance of maintaining the integrity of your figures.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's easy too. It's easy too.
See, I need to do it, and that's why I'm going to learn a lot from you today. So
yeah, there you go.
The classroom, bro.
Yeah, so we're gonna start from like the easy stuff, where
okay,
everyone should do it, to like the more like difficult things that you can have, I guess, if you want to be more specific. But yeah, do you want to just
get started? Dude, let's hit the first thing. What's the first thing?
Right. So the first one, the most important one, it's the humidity and temperature check.
And I actually have one, dude.
There you go. So pull that up. So the reason why this is so important is that you want to have the right humidity in your collection room. So it's only like $11 on Amazon. So the reason why this is super important, again, is 30 to 40% is ideal. 30 to 35 probably is even better. About 68 to 72 degrees is what I've heard. It's an ideal temperature. So that's probably where you want to be. So there's also a huge misconception that people believe, well, I don't have any humidity. You know, my humidity here, like if you're, I don't know, in Arizona, it's like 10%. Then you need actually something to bring up the humidity. But most people don't struggle with that. So I will say that this is what you need. This step one is $11. Just lets you know where you are. Because if your humidity is super high, you're gonna have a ton of problems with your pleather figures. If your house is super hot, then you're gonna have, or your room is super hot, like maybe you're in a garage like Riley, then you're gonna have problems with your figures, right? So this is the best way to get started to see where you're at, right? So let's say you do have a problem with your humidity, which I did, Will did.
Me too.
Then you're going to need a dehumidifier. Right. So a dehumidifier, and that's the next one. Yeah, go ahead. So this is the exact same model that Will and I have, and it's super easy. If you basically, when you turn it on, you're gonna set it at the humidity that you want it to be at. And you know, I just set it at 30%, and once the filter is done, it's going to you know, obviously you're gonna have to replace the filter, which all you have
like
to do,
beep and stuff. Yeah.
Right, it will beep, and then you take all the canister from the bottom, you flip it upside down, and all the water's gonna come out. So just go, you know, do it over a tub or whatever. Because
remember what happened, Carlos?
Yeah, Will couldn't get rid of the water. So this machine absorbs the water from the air, the moisture. So Will goes, Carlos, how do you get rid of the water? I was like, well, you need to flip it upside down. He flipped it upside down, and it went all over
my counter, because
on his counter.
It looked, guys, it's like clear, like acrylic plastic or something. And I was like, well, you have to like open it to get to the water. And he was like, no, you literally just flip it upside down. And I was like, nah, he's bullshitting. So then I was like, all right, let's flip it upside down. So I was in my kitchen. I literally flipped it upside down. Water went all over the counter. I was like, God damn it.
Right.
Should have listened to Carlos, but I literally spilled water everywhere.
Right. And then there's an actual filter in there. Like all you have to do is take it out and you know, rinse it off every couple months or so. But
yeah, it's not bad.
So if you have a regular, you know, it's depending on how many square feet you have. So just make sure to check that. But if you're in the other spectrum where you have no humidity, then you need what is that word called? Not a dehumidifier, but
It's
a humidifier.
a
Humidifier. So
humidifier.
basically,
Yeah.
you need to add moisture to the air because what happens is high humidity will rot your pleather. Low
Mhm.
humidity will crack your pleather. So you can't have an extreme of either. You need to have a nice balance. So this
Right.
is the one that I use. This is the one that I've recommended to everyone because it's an awesome
Well,
dehumidifier.
Carlos, what I've heard too, to cut in on this one, I've heard that, from what I've read, people say generally your temperature, the percent rather, should be like 30 to 40% or
Mhm.
lower, right?
Right.
Maybe 20. Sometimes when it's really cold out here in Maryland, like it might be like 25, 27%. But with
Right.
mine, it's usually like right now it's on 38 because I have it off because we're recording. But if I wasn't recording, that thing will keep it at 35. Like mine's pretty much set on
Yeah.
35 most of the time.
Yeah.
So
Mine's at
30 to
30,
40.
and right now my room, it's a 27.
That's good. Yeah.
It's 27.
So
So it's
like
fine.
maybe 25 to 40, 25
Yeah,
to
yeah.
40,
Like if it
45.
doesn't, as long as it doesn't get like in the teens, then you're fine.
Right.
'Cause
Because
I
at
know
one point
some
mine got to 70, bro.
Yeah, see, and you're gonna have problems. You're gonna start peeling, the pleather will just start coming off. So what's gonna happen is that, I know some people who have a dehumidifier and a humidifier depending on, the month and, the season and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's a great piece. How much is this? Well, I think this is a little
Well,
pricey.
for me, like back in the day, maybe like a couple months ago, I paid 250. I think now it's 191. So
191.
that's really good.
Really good investment. So before you're like, oh, I need 303 wipes. Oh, I need this. Buy the humidity and temperature check, find out where you're at, and then you can figure out the problem. Is it because your house is too hot? Is it because you have too much humidity? Is it because your humidity is too low? Then you can adjust. So most people are going to have a humidity problem, so you need a dehumidifier. This will
Yeah.
be a good investment instead of anything else. This will solve like 80% of your problems.
Bro, it
for
literally
the most
changed my
part.
life. It's probably the best piece of advice you've ever given me. So,
Thank you. Yeah. So,
literally, bro, it changed my humidity because Maryland's very humid. So it dropped it a
right.
lot. So,
Right. So let's say now you have a dehumidifier, you
mhm.
have your humidity and temperature check, and you want to take it to the next level, right? You want to make sure you conserve your figures even more. The next one are the well-known 303 wipes. So I've been using for these now for a couple of years. Now, these are the ones I use. I know some people like the spray one, the spray kind. You can spray it on a microfiber towel, but I just use these. So the way you do these is that you don't want to do these these wipes on pleather that is peeling. If it's starting to crack, you want to dab it, but you don't want to wipe it. Okay, because then you're just gonna obviously peel the pleather. All right. So you wipe your whole figure, and then you're gonna get a microfiber towel, which will show later, that I use. And then you wipe it off, right? And again, if it's cracking, you just dab it on it. You don't actually like wipe it, obviously, because you don't want to cause more issues. You typically do this depending on the age of your figure. So an example would be if you want to, an older figure, maybe every 6 months, typically a newer figure that you've had from day one, once a year, because you're going to be able to maintain the materials. But let's say you got an older figure, you're not, haven't been, maybe you bought it from someone else, then maybe every 6 months just to maintain it. So what's going to happen is as soon as you put the 303, it's gonna be a little bit creasy and a little bit shiny, but
Mm.
after like 2-3 days, it goes away. It just completely goes away. So that's perfectly okay. That's gonna happen. And again, I use these only for the pleather pieces. One wipe. All I do is literally get a wipe. I'll use it and then I'll just pick up the whole wipes and I'll put it at the bottom and I'll just shake the can again and I get all the water and I'll do it again. After like two, I throw it away so I can preserve as much as I can. But yeah, every 6 months
Okay.
is what I do. Figures like, let's say a Loki that I just got that I'm gonna be, containing or preserving, sorry, not containing. I'm only gonna do that figure like once a year. After like 3-4 years, maybe I'll start doing like every 6 months.
Right.
The
That makes sense.
older.
So you're not even having to do it that frequently. Yeah. Because I need
No,
to start
no.
doing these with mine, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, so once a year, and if you have the right humidity, you have 303 wipes, then you don't have to do this as much. It depends really on your temperature, but yeah. And then I use a microfiber towel. So then, Will, if you want to put that one up,
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
one's really, really good value. I use these because I use other microfiber towels where the little lint has left on the figure and stuff. These
Mhm.
haven't so far for me. So these are the ones that I do. And again, they come in different colors. I just buy the white ones. So there's no like dye or anything that's coming out.
Oh,
Um,
okay. The white ones. Okay.
the
So
white ones.
these.
Yeah, those.
Yeah.
So 1598, you get like 12 of them, and they're massive. So you can go in ahead and like literally, you know, just use them as you want. So what I do is typically like I'll put a a microfiber towel like on my desk, and I'll put the figure on top of it, do the 303 wipes, get another one, and do it. One quick tip: I
Yeah.
wash all of these a couple times before I start using them, just because whatever chemicals have been on there, just to make sure to get rid of all that stuff.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yes,
So
and the white is probably a good choice. Like I said, you don't want to leave any residue lint behind. So
right,
yeah,
right.
it makes sense. But it's important, Carlos. What you're saying is you got a 303 and then you clean it with the cloth. Like you wipe
With
it
the
down
cloth,
with
yeah.
the cloth.
You don't let the 303 sit on there. You don't let it do that. Yeah.
Right.
Now you don't have to worry like, oh, I'm on the left side of the body, and by the time I get to the right side, it's dried a little bit. It's fine. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be another world. You're more like wiping off the extra grease because it will be a little shiny and a little greasy from the 303. So
right, yeah, and see that's kind of one thing I can say about it's a separate type of thing, but Damascus steel. I have the Jon Snow sword, right, and you use sort of this like oil to clean the blade. Originally, I think part of the reason that I ended up getting maybe some spots on the blade because I didn't realize that you're supposed to wipe it down with the microfiber cloth after. I was just leaving it on there sort of to sit, and I don't think the leather's any different, the pleather.
Right,
So
right.
yeah,
So,
you got to clean it and then wipe it.
right.
Yep.
And then other things that I've realized too is that as you're, let's say for example, you have, a pleather jacket like a Star-Lord.
Yeah.
At times, there's gonna be the little, what's it called, when the material like the little strings start coming off frays. Is it fray?
Yeah, it's like fraying. Yeah.
The frame, yeah. So I use wire cutters, and these ones that are we're gonna display here. These are, I've actually gone through a couple of them, and I think these are pretty good. I've never had to there's been times where I've used wire cutters in the past, and they just didn't end up working really well. So these are really, really good. So if you ever see a little fray, if before it starts getting big, you want to go ahead and cut that out really, really quickly. Don't pull it. Definitely don't do that. You're going to cause more problems. So this is what I do. And let me see if I can have it here. Yeah, here you go. So I use these ones. Yeah. So these right here, they work really, really good. I have two of them, obviously, because they came with that. But yeah, they're really good. So it comes with this little tool here that you can just put away and stuff. So yeah, really great. Honestly, this is all you really need for those little frays that are coming out.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Could you use those, Carlos, to pull out wrist pegs, or would they cut something?
No, you don't want to use this for wrist pegs and stuff. I typically just use like little pliers and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the next one would be a small rounded where is it at?
Yeah, small rounded scissors.
Yeah, small rounded scissors. Yeah. So
okay,
that's the next one.
And I think there's one we skipped over, but we'll go back.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. The lens brush. Yeah, we can keep this one for now.
Yeah, we'll do this one, then we'll go back.
So these are the ones that I use. So the reason why, and I've come to realize is, a lot of times we hear like, oh, I'm trying to cut the paper, the little clear paper around the arms and the legs, and I'm afraid I'm going to fucking cut something. Well, with these, you don't have to cut anything because it's rounded, so you're not going to mess up anything. It doesn't have that point, so you're not going to accidentally like prick, like the pants or make a hole. Because that's actually happened to me I had a Harley Quinn because the leggings and stuff. So I actually went through it and I cut a legging accidentally because it was just so sharp. But with these, you're not going to have that problem. So that's one of the things I use. Super inexpensive. How much is this, Will?
Yeah, like $9, $10.
$9, yeah. So you don't have to, obviously.
Ooh, you can put nose hairs.
There you go. So it's multi-purpose. But yeah, I use this for like cutting that plastic around the figures, or if there's a specific area that you want to get to and you don't want to have any problems, then you can do that.
I really like the case too, bro.
Yeah, you've said you've had problems with like cutting paper, like the clear paper around.
Yeah, I've never cut something. Thank God. I've never actually cut something, but it can be very, very stressful because you're just like, man, I'm really gentle. Because I had a regular pair of scissors for a long period of time. And I was just like taking it real slow. And I didn't want to cut any fabric or cut the skin or whatever, So these would be much more, fit for the job.
Right. So this would be good. And then we'll do the lens brush blower. So one of these. So I use these for, so let's say there's a little area like again, any small area that you want to get to that you don't necessarily, maybe you haven't cleaned your figures in a while, maybe you're just getting started. So I had to use one of these because I started realizing that when I was getting like, let's say for the Star-Lord heat, they have like those, the patches that they have everywhere or Yondu's. I would get the microfiber towel or try to wipe them, and then what would happen is that I'm being too aggressive. So I would realize I would start breaking things. Or you can even use this for like a head sculpt. So if you want to be very delicate on the head sculpt, so you don't scratch anything, just because again I've scratched things from just being too rough.
Mm.
Then you can go on ahead and do this. So you can take off the top, just squeeze it and take out the air, and then you can just go ahead and wipe the head sculpt, wipe whatever you want to do. So very, very, delicate, so you don't mess up anything. Um, I also have an electric one, but that's more for like statues and stuff. But for 1/6 figures, that's what you want to do. Just something small like this.
Mm.
Again, more for the people that haven't cleaned their figures in a while and you want to be really careful with the head sculpt. It's a really good option for it.
Mm.
Just multiple tools, so they can help you out.
Right.
Sure.
That's why I can't wait to get mine behind the Modge spaces. So they can be closed off. They're good. Just leave them. And you got to condition them
Yeah.
every once in a while, the pleather and stuff still. But as far as dust
Right.
goes, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it makes it so much easier, honestly, when you start cleaning this stuff, because then you have all these
Mhm.
tools and then you're like, okay, it's a lot easier to get what you need based on that. So makes it easier. The
Yeah.
next one is actually something that it's going to help you with the other next thing. So I know it's going to sound weird, but you want something called a mini cup, and there's a bunch of them here. So it's basically one of these. Okay. So yep, is one of these. It's super
Starting a lemonade stand.
yeah, so here's why you're gonna want these. And I know these sound really stupid, like why you would want these, but I've realized that it's a little bit easier. So the reason why you want these is when you're using Modge Podge or when you're using glue. So the next thing we'll talk about would be precise super glue. So I use this one specifically that it has these like this mechanism that you can squeeze the glue out so you never get like a ton of glue who comes out or
Mhm.
it ever gets dry. So the reason why I use both of these together is I just put the glue in here and it's a lot easier to be able to use it. So I've used it on a little plate, I've used it on a little piece of paper, and what ends up happening is the glue ends up drying out. But when you put it in one of these little cups, then it's a lot easier to maintain. And I didn't show this, but basically what I do too is like I'll get a Q-tip and I'll cut it diagonally this way so I can have a point. And with that point from the hard part from the Q-tip, I'll use the super glue from it. So I put the super glue in here, use the hard part of a Q-tip, and then I will be able to do it. Or you can just, what he's doing here, you can apply it directly if you want because it's very, very precise. So it's not like the other ones where it's just going to throw a ton of super glue. It barely, puts a drop. But I like to use these for that. So obviously super glue for obvious reasons, right? Anything gets broken, if a pleather piece comes out, hey, this is pretty straightforward on what you want to do. And then the next one is a Modge Podge.
Modge Podge.
Modge Podge. Yeah, I can never say that one. So this one actually, it's pretty interesting. So the way this works is that it's going to hold your pleather pieces. So there's a couple ways to use this. Now, if your pleather is starting to crack, it hasn't peeled yet, but it's starting to crack, what you do, and we'll go after this as well, but you can use a very small paintbrush. So I have these. Okay. I have these if you want to sell. Yep. So I use this very, very small pointy one for like obviously the, tough to reach locations, and the small one too. The reason why is that this Modge Podge goes a long way. So you want to have a very, very thin layer. You don't want to have anything thick. It will dry clear. Now, what you're going to notice with the Modge Podge is that if you put too much, even when it dries or you start moving the figure, it's going to give you like this white residue, or it's like a weird like after effect or after glue effect. It's kind of weird if you put too much. The way you fix it is once you put Modge Podge in there, then what you want to do is put 303 and wipe it on it so that you could get rid of that white residue. So that's what you do. Now for figures, that you're going to be having, like for example, the Loki, I have it with his arm bent. So what I did is I put Modge Podge on the arm, right? I let it dry and I put 303, I wiped it, did the whole thing, just this very thin layer across the entire thing. Because now when I'm bending the arm, that pleather isn't going to crack, because before I even bend it, I was already treating it from conserving itself from ever cracking. Because obviously pleather will crack if you start bending it and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, my Loki is holding his scepter, just like 90-degree angle. This will prevent that from happening if you plan to do that. Again, very, very thin layer, small amount, and kind of basically what you want to do is like for what I did with Loki is when the arm was bent, any area that I saw any small stress, I kind of painted the entire column or area. So a very thin layer so that you can properly be able to prevent it from cracking in the future. And I actually got that tip from Metamorphic Customs. Desi, he told me about
Nice.
this. Yeah, so he was able to help me out with that. So at the end I'll get a Loki and I'll show you guys. But yeah, so this is really great. Yeah, and paintbrushes obviously. And then what's gonna happen is that these paintbrushes here, right? Once you start getting like let's say like a Joker or whatever it may be, right? You can use some of these because what you're gonna do is you're gonna get one of these little things, and again, that's me. I get a little bit of water, I get a little bit of hairspray in there, and I mix the solution in there, and now I can dip it in there, and I can actually go on ahead and treat Joker's hair. So it's a little bit easier. Now, am I
Nice.
extra? Sure, I am extra, but that's what I like to do because it just works for me.
You're basically California Viper, bro. That's what you are.
Right. So so water, a little bit of hairspray, very, very tiny ones that like have no scent, one that's like clear, right? It applies clear, just a very small amount on 1 cup, right? So you have 2 cups, one with water, one with the other one. You dip a little bit, you mix it in the other one, and then you have a little bit, and then you can just go in there and fix the hair or the rooted hair. And that's how you do it. Very, very small amount. You never do the whole hair, just areas that are like frizzing out, if you will. So that's why these cups are really ideal because then you can, have different solutions. You can mix them. So I use these a lot. You'd be surprised. And it's easier than like a paper towel or like finding a plastic, I don't know, like a cardboard paper. So it comes with 200 and I'll fucking never get rid of these. So yeah.
Yeah, dude, you can have a lot of ketchup in those. So
right. A lot of ketchup.
You can fill that shit up with mustard and ketchup. You can have a party, dude. And just fill it up
Yeah,
with
exactly.
salsa and shit.
It can be multi-purpose. So all these things are multi-purpose,
Shots.
guys. Yeah, there you go.
If you drink, I don't drink, but if you did.
Yeah. So that's one thing. And the next one is museum gel. All right.
Oh, this you showcased on Lael's the other night.
Yeah. So I showcased
Make your own
on
Inart stand.
Yep. So, okay. If I'm always going to be for using a stand and using the stand with the crotch grabber. However, a lot of people don't like to use stands. If you don't like to, you can use museum gel. And where's mine? Here we go. So museum gel. Okay. Super easy. Okay. So here I have a Kenobi and I took out the crotch grabber. Okay. Hopefully it doesn't fall.
If it does, be hilarious.
So here's the Kenobi. Obviously there's no crotch grabber there. I'm going to grab one from here and look at that. Okay.
Ooh, flip him upside down, bro. Yeah, it's like Inart, bro.
Hold on.
Damn. Okay.
So
Inart.
You can kind of see in there.
Yeah, just barely, but barely.
So what you do is you get, and we'll talk about this, but we'll go back to this. But so what happens is you put a little bit, and what's going to happen over 24 to 48 hours, it's going to expand, and it's going to create a seal, okay, around the boot. It's not going to mess up anything, I promise. And then to remove it, I'll show you guys how to remove it after. But that's what you do. So here is my Stan Lee.
Ooh, okay. Stan Lee.
I have a Stan Lee there. Okay, so I'm going to take it out so you can see how the museum gel looks underneath. Okay, this motherfucker's stuck as shit in there.
Because that shit's strong as hell. Yeah. Can't you use it also, Carlos, like on silicone statues to remove dust and stuff?
Yeah, you can. You can use a little bit and dab it.
Right.
Yeah. So here is how it looks. So here is the museum gel, and you just take it out. There's nothing remaining. And here you go. It's back there. And you can just put it back in the case that you got it. Here it is again. You just slowly roll it out. Anything remaining, just wipe it. It's not going to take out the paint. And now you have these. So the way I would do it is, again, you just put a little bit on there. Put this again. Right? You obviously want to pose your figure and all of that beforehand and see how it's going to be. And then you place it. But so here is the stand. Okay. Here's the stand. So there's no crotch grabber. Now, typically you want to wait 24 to 48 hours before you move the figure. So you press it down. Okay. Oh, yeah. See, it's not going to work. See, what happens is that you need to wait for that seal to happen, and then you'll be good. So like if
Right.
I let go, it's kind of holding it a
Yeah,
little
it's
bit.
holding decent. Yeah.
It's decent hold. Yeah. So 24 to 48 hours, then you'll be good to go. So museum gel. So if you don't want to use stands, that's the safest way of not using a stand, which is still stupid as shit. But if you don't want to use a stand, that's probably the best way.
Use
Um,
stands, guys and girls.
yeah, 100%. And then you want to do let me see what other
Portable
things.
steamer.
No, I forgot there. Oh, plastic tweezers. Let me just jump over that.
Oh, plastic tweezers.
Okay. So the reason why you want a plastic tweezer is one of these. Okay. So I just broke it. And the reason why I do this is that, let's say on the Kenobi, okay, the reason why is that this extra amount, all you do, and you can use it with your finger, but the reason why I don't use my finger is because if you put too much force, you're going to move the figure. So you just come in here and then you scrape the excess over the shoe, right? And you're still creating that bond between the bottom of the base and stuff. Obviously, you have to just work with this and get rid of all the excess. If it doesn't bother you, then you don't have to. But I've heard a few people say they don't like it, just from those who told me about it first. So you just wipe it off and then you have the extra and you just put it back in the case and stuff. You don't have to do it. So that's one of the reasons I have these. You obviously don't want to use anything metal because you can scratch your base. If you care about that, you can mess up your figure, especially if it's like a metal tweezer, right? Because you don't want to fuck your shit up.
Nope.
So yeah, that's why the plastic tweezers are there. And I guess the next one would be, we'll go back after the museum gel.
Yeah.
So
it was portable steamer next.
Yeah. So portable steamer. So here's one that's maybe more for a statue collector, not necessarily for some figures. So one of the things I've realized as well is I've seen people be like, oh, like, I have a wired cape I bought from this, whatever custom place you get it from, or this custom coat and it's wrinkled. What do I do? Just get a portable steamer, use the steamer. It's pretty much, self-explanatory what you do there. I've used this with my Joker. I've used this with, other fabric pieces that are, that are just really wrinkled on the figure. It's pretty straightforward. These are things I've accumulated over time. You don't go and buy everything at once. But yeah,
that's an NRD, bro. You can't do
that's
that.
an NRD, right? Yeah. I'm just very, as you can tell, I'm very extra with my stuff.
Right. You're cautious. That's the term I would use.
Yeah. The next thing I have, and we're almost done here, it's the heat gun. So this heat gun here, it's pretty easy. It has two switches, so just like high and low. All I've done, honestly, is you can use a blow dryer. The problem is that if you use a blow dryer, whether you think about it or not, anytime you apply heat to pleather, you're breaking down the pleather over time. So if you're only posing it once, not a problem. If you're the kind of person that likes to pose, you're weakening the material because you're heating it. Anytime you heat plastic or a material, you're expanding it. Cold, like if you use a piece of ice to straighten out pleather, you're contracting, making the material tight again. So what I use with this, I use it on the lowest setting. I put it right on the side of the wrist peg or in on the hand, 5 seconds at the most, and it should come off. If it's not, because let's say it's like a So-So Toys Gambit, which is really difficult, you put it on high, 3 to 5 seconds, does the work. I've never struggled. I've never broken anything doing this way, like with Cloud from Game Toys. Right. Super small wrist peg, Sephiroth. You put it on high because it's a very small wrist peg. 5 seconds, 3 to 5 seconds, you're good. No problems. And you make sure that you're maintaining the material. You're not breaking down the material. Actually, one of my more noob times is where I've messed up figures because I've used like a blow dryer and I've messed up materials because it was too hot and I was, it was reaching over to other sides of the figure. So that's why his heat gun is so ideal. I've actually heard this from a YouTuber, but I forget who said it, who used this, and actually ended up working out really, really well. So.
Yeah, because I know Sephiroth, dude, Game Toys, swapping the hands and the wrist pegs was a nightmare. So
yeah,
really not 100%. Fun. So I haven't changed it since. But I will say, yeah, dude, if you had this heat gun, I think it would really make things a lot simpler.
Yeah, so you can start with the low setting around the whole wrist peg and on the hand, and and you can just use your hand or a plier, and it should come out pretty easily. I mean, a plier on the peg, not on the hand, obviously. Right. And you should be good to go. You shouldn't have a problem, honestly.
Yeah.
And then the next one is going to be rounded tweezers. So this is really important
Ooh.
because this is probably going to be one of the most important tools you're going to have,
Mhm.
because especially if you're going to get the Inart Joker. So one of these. Okay, so the reason why this is key is these these tweezers are rounded, they're not sharp. So when you want to, fix like a collar shirt or a tie or anything that's very particular, and your hand, because we all have, I have fat fingers. So instead of, you can be very, very precise, and grab the tie, adjust it. I know Will was telling me he had some problems putting on the head sculpt for the Joker, but if he had one of these, he can properly stretch out the neck without, being too complicated. So one of these, is going to be really great for, really maintaining your figures or adjusting them, or messing with the tailoring, so you don't have to mess anything up one of these. It's
Yeah.
really, really good.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely, bro. Tweezers can be a game changer. So,
right.
yeah, I'm gonna have to get a pair like this, no doubt. I have a pair, but I didn't use them for the Joker. I probably should have. So, I probably should
Right.
have.
Yeah. The next thing I have, which is kind of just like, I guess at this point, just like extra stuff that I have that I'm just, oversharing at this point.
Mhm.
It's clear small bags. So what I do is, let's say if I'm taking out, hands or whatever it is, what I like to do is that instead of just grabbing them and throwing them in a box and just being careless, I just like to put them in these little baggies, so that way it's easier. I'm protecting the accessories. I'm not ripping or breaking or scratching them up, because at the end of the day, you have a scratch in one of your hands and all that, or an accessory, because they sell them in different sizes. I don't have to go and, like, devalue the figure or whatever. So
Right.
obviously these bags are lifetime, because if you ever sell the figure, you just keep the bags, right? So it's pretty straightforward. So yeah, these are, little bags, different sizes. I have a shit ton. I have like small ones. I have really big ones, really, really tiny ones. So it just really depends. But these are really great for, instead of, if you're the kind of person that likes to take out all the accessories and put them in a box, this can be a really good way of doing that. So
Nice. That sounds
that's what I
great,
do.
man. Very
Yeah.
practical of you. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, I'm very particular with my stuff, but
Yeah.
the next two are going to be bags for art covers, and then bounce dryer sheets. So
Mhm.
they both go hand in hand. So I've bought a figure that, unfortunately, someone didn't tell me that they were. So these will go over a hot toy box, no problem. And I bought a figure, and he didn't tell me that they actually smoked. So what you do is you get a bag, you put it over the R box, and then you buy, and you get one of these Bounce dryer sheets. They're dermatology tested, so they don't have like any scent. They're free and gentle. Like it's not going to ruin your figure in any way. And you put a ton of these outside of the R cover box, inside of the box, so you can get rid of all that smell. Inside next to the figure, you wrap the whole figure around it, and what you do is you grab that plastic bag and you tie it, and you take out all the air. And after 24 hours, you keep doing that. Depending how bad the smoke smell may be, you may have to do this 4 or 5 times, but that's going to be, a game changer. So you need plastic
Mm.
bags. Obviously, you can be any. I just bought these, so I never have to look for bags, because I don't have bags here. And then those Bounce dryer sheets.
That's
That's
only
really
happened to me once, Carlos, where I bought a used figure and I was like, I can smell the smoke, even though they didn't
right.
tell me that. Yeah.
Yeah, and this will get rid of it, because
Right.
I've had like 3 or 4 problems now, and I try to get rid of the problem before I return it. If after like 4 or 5 days I can get rid of it, then I will definitely,
Right.
I
If you
can
can't
tell
get it
you,
out, then yeah.
yeah, I can tell you I've gotten the smell out of the figure, but it's been more difficult to get the smell out of like the art box and inside the art box,
Mm.
because for whatever reason it just gets stuck to the materials more. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
yeah, so that's what I've noticed. The next one will be gel packs. So, the
Mhm.
reality is that not everyone can display every figure. I've talked to people who tell me like, "Hey, I don't have enough display. What do I do? Do I sell my figures?" You don't have to. If you want to keep them in your box for a little bit, that's fine. So that's what I have as well. I have a few of these. So, some of the figures that are boxed up, I just don't have the space for. What I've done is every 6 months, every time I go in there and I do the 303 wipes, I'll just replace one of these and put them inside, or because Hot Toys has a little square section where you can put these. I just swap them out for the new one. So
Mm.
if it's a 303 wipe, because let's say it's a pleather figure, I'll treat it. I'll dry it with the microfiber towel, and then from there, what I'll do is I will, let it air out for like a day, and then put it back in the box, and then you use one of these. and then you're good. You should be, you know, you don't have to, you only do this every like 6 months, every 12 months or so. And then if you're going to have figures boxed up, then this is going to help you be able to not have a figure deteriorate, you know, and, you know, literally peel in the box. So that's going to help you.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they already include those for most boxes anyway, like a few here and there, don't they?
Right.
For that exact reason. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The next one is which is, you know, a small thing that I realized is like small magnets. So the reason why I'm including this into maintaining your figures, okay, so something like this is I've realized, for example, I've had people tell me like, hey, you know, this piece of pleather is bent and I can't fix it, or, you know, it's sticking up and it shouldn't. What you can do is try to get 2 pieces of magnets. You know, you can put like a small piece of like a microfiber towel, whatever it may be, and you can use these for posing. You can use these for like if you want a specific coat to go a specific way, or if you want to train a specific, you know, material that maybe it's like pleather and it's not going the right way. You can use small little magnets so you can bend it in the right direction that you want it to. Like I know Riley was telling me he had some problem with his pleather, so you can use some of these to try to strain out pleather pieces. Maybe you've already tried it all. You try heating it, you try cold compressing it so you can set it at the right shape, and it can't. You can use small magnets to help it set in the right direction. Probably not something you want to use the first thing because it could leave a mark, but you know, it's an option because I know I've had to do that and I've had luck with it, especially for pieces that were just bent and I couldn't fix it. So especially clothing pieces like pleather. So this definitely, you know, helps you with that.
Yeah,
just gonna add some weight to it or whatever. You know, you
always magnets have around is super helpful.
Yeah, exactly. And the last 2 are just pretty small ones that I've done over time. So you know, if you're an Iron Man collector, you know, having a very small screwdriver, it's really ideal, especially a mechanical one. So one of these, right? It's really great. Or sometimes you've had to replace like batteries inside a base. I've used this. This is exactly you know, what I've done, and it's super compact. You know, man, it's more than enough for what you need. You can use even a regular manual one, but just telling you what I use and what I've done. So this one is, you know, pretty self-explanatory as well.
Yeah.
And the
super helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and I've done this as also, you know, anyone who sees that is useful. And the last one is a very, very small lint roller. So if you have you know, pets or whatever, and you're gonna sell your figure, please, for the love of God, use one of these. Clean your figure and use one of these on your figures if you have pets. Because you know how many times I've gotten figures with like long ass dog hairs or people's hair just because they don't clean these before they sell them. So one of these goes a really long way for obvious reasons because nobody likes a dirty ass figure. So.
That's true. No one likes hairy ass figures, bro. No one likes that shit.
Yeah. Right.
What a list, dude.
Yeah, that was a lot. And I'm sorry,
it is
that's
a lot,
everything dude. I have in my max kit.
Dude, so. that's Captain Carlos's cleaning kit. So, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's like cleaning, maintaining, and other areas that I mean, do you really need these little cups? Maybe not.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? But I like them.
Just bro, if you need some ketchup, you need a cup. All right. It's like using a figure stand, bro. You're going to need it.
So I started with like the most, you know, at need, like the temperature and stuff. And I kind of started with like other ones that probably, you know, if you want. But anyways, we'll see whatever people want to use and whatever, you know, makes sense for them.
Well, Carlos, we're going to link all this in the description for people. Everything, bro. Everything's going to be listed. Carlos sent me a nice clean list. I'm going to pop that right in the description. I might even do chapters for this video because Carlos is all about chapters.
Yeah, chapters. So you can, you know, get what you need. But like I said, yeah, hopefully everyone finds this, you know, informational and helpful. Again, you don't need everything on this list. Not at least not right away. I've realized what works for me or just makes it easier. Like, you know, so yeah, that's everything that's in my, what Nick calls it, my purse, my 160 purse. So,
your collector's purse.
My collector's purse.
Well, guys, let us know in the comments below what you thought of all the tips, tricks, and everything in between the little cleaning gadgets that Carla showed off today. Dude, a lot of these things, I feel like I need to get like all of them. Maybe not the little cups. Those are for ketchup. But other than that, bro, everything else, like I feel like I need to get that. The dehumidifier for sure has changed. Like you said, that solved like 80% of my problems. Like that.
Right.
And then the little tweezers, the scissors, the heat gun. The heat gun, I feel like I have to be really cautious with because I feel like I'm going to burn something or do something stupid. So I just got to be really cautious with that one.
Right. And those little cups are really more for like the glue or Mod Podge. Because trust me, bro, if you've ever had Mod Podge and you try using it for the first time, that shit goes everywhere and it's just easier to have one of these. Again, the only reason I use these because I saw Desi from Metamorphic Customs use it. So I was like, well, if he uses it and he's a professional, I should too. So
well, you know what they say, with great power comes great responsibility. So if you have, if you have a heat gun that's super powerful, or what was that stuff called again? They use
Mod Podge.
Yeah, but if you had a Mod Podge that's super powerful, great power, it comes with great responsibility. You're gonna fuck up your figure, so don't do that shit. So like you gotta be careful. Use the Dixie cup. Use the Dixie cup.
Right. But hey,
that's gonna be important. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like I said, hopefully this was helpful for you. So much good info here and so many things that could be useful for you in your collecting journey, in maintenance, repair, longevity, whatever term you want to use. It's helpful. Carlos, a place for collecting. Is there anything else you want to say about the group or anything before we wrap it up?
No, just, a place for collecting, a toxic-free and drama-free group if everybody wants to, anybody wants to join. And like I said, hopefully everyone finds something from this list informational, and again, you don't have to get everything.
Right.
So, yeah.
Bro, I'm not sure informational is a word. I'm not sure. No. I got to look it up. You could say informative. I got information. Maybe I'm wrong, bro. Information.
Informational is a word. Informative.
I guess it is. The real it says relating or characterized by facts about something, providing information. It's an adjective. That's interesting. I've never heard informational before. I didn't think that was a word. I thought you made that up. Informational. Yeah, I've heard informative. Like you say, like, oh, I found that really informative, but I've never heard informational. But
you have a master's degree and you
have a doctoral degree.
And you didn't even know. Wow, dude.
Nah, bro, you showed me up on that one. So it's all good. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. All the links will be popped in the description. Check out A Place for Collecting, great group. And then, of course, lots of the content coming on this channel. That said, guys, peace. Bye. Have a good, I don't know when you're watching this. Have a good evening, daytime, morning, afternoon.